Hello and welcome to another episode of The Six Figure Stylist. I'm super happy to be here, and today I'm going to be talking about self-trust. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I think it's such an important skill in business, but also in life. And I think it's something that we haven't been taught. Oftentimes, we're actually taught the opposite. We're taught to defer to other people, to listen to what other people are telling us what to do. And for ourselves, we struggle to trust our own thoughts, our own feelings, our own intuition and way of doing things. So I'm going to be talking about nervous system safety. I'm going to be talking about sovereignty or taking responsibility for your own decisions and happiness. And really, what I'm talking about today is self leadership. These are really, really important if you're running a business or if you want to be truly happy in your life. That is my belief. So I'm going to be talking about my own experience, but also the experience of working with clients over the last 10 years or so. And I'm going to start out by telling you a personal story to illustrate why self-trust matters so much. And I'm going to start with my recent decision, or relatively recent decision, to go grey. I'm in my early 50s. I've been coloring my hair since my 20s. And in the last 6 to 8 months, I've decided that enough is enough. I don't want to color my hair anymore. It's expensive. It's impossible to keep up with. I was coloring it every 2 to 3 weeks, and I was still having a white halo all the time. And honestly, I felt that the color was starting to look harsher and harsher as I got older. So I took the decision that I was going to let my hair go grey naturally. I'm about, I would say, 6 to 8 months in now, and I've never been happier with my decision. But it wasn't like that at the start, let me tell you. When I took that initial decision, I just wasn't sure. I didn't really trust my own decision, and I was looking outward for people to verify, oh, this is the right decision, you're going to look amazing, this is exactly right for you. But that, of course, isn't the response I got from everyone. I got lots of people saying, you're going to look older, you're starting to look older. A lot of my family didn't even say anything. I just knew by their looks, by their expressions, that they weren't necessarily agreeing with my decision. And my own mother said to me, I think you're too young to go grey. I think you should go back to coloring your hair. So, this is where self-trust comes in. This is where I listened to everything everyone was saying and came back to myself and checked in with myself and decided, am I going to listen to what everybody else is saying, or am I going to listen to myself and what's best for me, what makes most sense to me, and, what is best for me in the long term, and try and take into consideration everybody else's opinion, but come back to what actually works for me. That is my idea of self-trust. That's what I feel self-trust is. It's self-leadership, taking direction from yourself and trusting that you know best what's best for you, despite what everybody else is saying. And 6 months in, I'm mostly 100% happy with the decision to let my hair go grey. I still get comments. Even my two boys don't particularly like my grey hair. I still get comments, but I know in my heart this is the right decision for me. It feels good, and I'm happy with my decision. So, what actually changes when you go with self-trust, when you start to really believe in yourself and your own um, decisions. And what actually changes is your mind goes quiet. Your mind goes quiet and you start trusting yourself again. You start seeing, what's really going on, and you start to be able to observe that a lot of people's opinions are about themselves and nothing to do with you. Like, so for instance, my two boys will say to me, none of the other moms are grey. So we don't want you to be grey. You're starting to look old. We don't want you to be old. And this is all about their feelings and what they want. And while I listen to them and while I reassure them, I go back to why I made this decision and why it's important for me. And my mind is very clear now. I have no doubt in my mind. This is what I want. This is what I want to follow through with. And I am taking responsibility for my decision. And that's what self-trust is on a personal basis. But we take decisions like this in our business every single day. If you do color analysis, you have to trust that this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm going to share with my client, even if other people have other opinions. And I have several color analysis groups. I have a 16 palette group, and I have my certified online color expert program. And in there, we are color coding every day. There's always a couple of opinions, slightly different. Usually we come to a consensus, but always the people who are bringing their clients to that group, they have to take a final decision themselves based on their interaction with the client, based on their own experience, and based on self-trust. Can I stand by what I'm deciding? And as I said, we have been taught our whole life to, defer our opinions to other people, maybe to our partners, maybe in the case of school, they decided everything for us, or when we were with our families decided everything for us. We're in social groups that dictate that we have to be a certain way. So my belief is to truly be sovereign in business and to have a business that truly works for you. Having this skill of self-trust is so important. So today I'm going to talk about what self-trust looks like in real life, what it looks like in real life, what it looks like in business. And I have 7 points that I want to cover, because I think it's so important that you stop second guessing yourself, stop waiting for approval and over explaining yourself, and then doing things that are causing burnout, and just don't fit with your personality. So I think it's really, really critical that we start developing this skill of self-trust and standing by the decisions that we make, and not being afraid to take a decision without polling everybody. So that's the first point I want to make, is that we need to learn how to make a decision without polling the room. Now, I see this all the time online. I see people asking their audience who their niche should be, asking their audience how much you should charge for your services, asking your audience, what should you talk about next, for instance. And of course, we want to take into consideration our audience, but we do not outsource our business decisions to random people. Or, you met somebody down the shop and they said, that they didn't think that, becoming a personal stylist was a very lucrative business. What do they know? They haven't done that. But oftentimes we outsource our decisions to other people who know nothing about us, know nothing about our situation, know nothing about our personality. And as a result, they are not qualified even to, have an opinion really, but everybody has an opinion about what you should and shouldn't be doing in your business. Maybe your husband, your mother, your audience, or even the algorithm, all of these people are going to have an opinion, but can you come back? Can you quiet down your mind, come back to your center, regulate yourself. And what do you really want? What do you want for you? What works for you? What feels best for you? And then having the courage and the tenacity to follow through with that. Because people will continue to disagree with you just because you've made a decision. People still come up to me and say, oh, your hair color is gone gray. Are you not going to color it? And that is all about them. It's nothing to do with me. And that ability to be able to come back to ourselves, to regulate ourselves, and be able to stick to decisions that we made, or indeed change the decision to something that works better for us down the line. I'm not saying that you have to stick to this decision forever, but understand who's making the decision. Is it you, or is it somebody outside of you that's making this decision for you? You don't need permission to move. You absolutely don't need permission to move from other people, especially if you're in your own business. Number two, investing in yourself. Really, really, I think it's important in developing the skill of self-trust is to invest in yourself. What do I mean by that? Say, coming back to my gray hair, when I decided to let my hair go gray, I decided, I am going to do this in the gentlest way possible for me. So I started with gray blending. So I got really, really nice highlights and lowlights as I left that initial gray grow in. I go and get my hair washed and blow dried every single week. I invest in special shampoos, purple shampoos, so that my hair doesn't go like a yellowy gray. I invest in a great cut. I have educated myself about gray hair, how to take care of it, what kind of styles I can have. I have a whole Pinterest board of, styles that work for my face shape, that won't age me as I let my hair grow. What can I do? There's about 3 to 4 inches grown out, but the back of it is still actually quite brown. So what can I do in the meantime as it grows out? So all of these things are really important. Education, I regulate myself every now and again. I get a fit of, oh, maybe I do look old, and maybe I do look like a granny. And then I come back to myself again and say, look, I have agency here. I can decide. Is there something about my style I need to change? Is there something about my makeup? I definitely have changed my makeup a little bit. I've gone a little bit warmer in my makeup because I was looking a little bit washed out. So I've gone slightly warmer. It's still cool, but slightly warmer compared to what I was doing before. So I look after my body. I think it's really, really important as I age to look after my body. So I invest in a trainer. I invest in, nice workout gear. I was just talking in my newsletter earlier this week about the fact that I just weeded out my gym wear. And just investing in self-trust, the self-trust in the decision that I made. And to look at it as not indulgent, this is not indulgent. Me taking care of myself is not indulgent. Me taking a decision that works best for me is not indulgent, because that works for everyone. If I'm happy, if I'm content, if I'm regulated, if I feel good, then that ripples out to my boys, it ripples out to my husband, it ripples out to my audience. This is an investment in everything to do with you and every other decision that you will take as well. Number three, doing things differently. When self-trust grows, comparison shrinks. I'm not out there comparing myself to every other person out there. Once I make that decision, once we trust that, I've made that decision, I'm going with that decision, I stand by that decision, we stop comparing ourselves. And imagine the peace of mind that comes with that. You stop copying what works for other people and you start doing things that work for you. This is so key. And that also differentiates us in our business. We don't look like anyone else. We don't sound like anyone else. We're not trying to copy anyone else. We're uniquely us. Our brand is very, very clear once we start developing self-trust. And we also have an opinion if you have self-trust, because you're not flipping this way this one day and flipping this way another day. And you build structure that fits your nervous system. Things that work for you and make you feel safe and make you feel sovereign. And that is so key, because again, if you do not feel safe in your decisions, you're not going to feel safe to go out there and share your opinions, share your decisions, share anything about yourself really with other people if you don't trust yourself. So developing that self-trust is, so beautiful. A lot of people have decided, for instance, that Facebook groups are finished and they don't use Facebook groups anymore. Facebook groups work beautifully for me. They have done for many, many years. I still take the decision that I'm going to use my Facebook group. I use Facebook groups for all sorts of things, for any small courses that I'm using, for this live that I'm doing here right now. I'm also running it in my Facebook group. It's fantastic for repurposing. And again, it works for me. It doesn't necessarily work for everybody else. And that's okay. I trust my decision. But can you imagine if I was kind of half in and half out? Then I end up taking no action. I think if you don't trust yourself, what happens is you end up flipping all over the place and not being able to take the action that you need to take in your business. Number 4, swapping what doesn't work. If you find that, a coach has taught you something and it doesn't work for you, it doesn't make you feel good, it requires a huge amount of effort to do the thing, then I would suggest that you swap it out for something that does work for you. I've taught people all sorts of strategies. Some of those strategies work for me. Some of those strategies don't work for me, but they will work for somebody else. Have the courage to swap out anything that doesn't work for you. Like, for instance, if you don't like going live in front of people, don't go live in front of people. Maybe do a podcast instead to get your message out there. There are different ways of doing things, and you don't have to do the same as everybody else. Actually, I strongly encourage you that you don't do the same as everybody else. Once you have, a way of reaching people that feels comfortable for you, go with that. For instance, I find that huge launches exhaust me. They absolutely exhaust me. Now, I know how to do a huge launch. I know what's involved, but I have found over the years that huge launches don't work for me anymore. So I trust that for myself now. So I run smaller groups and run smaller launches and smaller way of doing things, and that feels better for me. It feels more authentic. Other people love a huge launch and then, bigger gaps between when they have to do their launches. Again, it's going back to what truly works for me and not outsourcing your decisions to coaches. Coaches know a lot. There are amazing coaches out there, including me, but they don't know everything. They don't know everything about you and they don't know what works for you. So what I would suggest you do is when they suggest something for you, take it for checking. Take it back home into your body for checking. Does this work for me? Or does it not work for me? No drama, just adjust it. No drama. You don't even need to tell people that you're not doing it that way anymore if you don't want. You just change it around. Another thing that I have found quite tricky is memberships. I find memberships, that consistency of having a membership, quite tough. And I took a decision maybe 3 years ago, that I wasn't going to do more than 3 years ago, that I wasn't going to do memberships anymore. And at some point, somebody must have spoken to me, must have convinced me, but I went back into a membership model again, and I found it really, really, really tough. I didn't trust myself the first time round, and it was really only, as I matured in my business that I realized, oh my God, this is not really working for me. I knew this already. I didn't really trust myself the first time around, but I'm definitely going to trust myself this time around. Um, and this ensures as well that you make regulated pivots in your business. If you know what works and what doesn't work, you know that, look, I'm going pivoting into something else, but I definitely know this business model doesn't work for me, so I'm not going to do that. So you end up having a much, much more regulated pivot. Number 5, saying no to draining invitations. This is so important, especially if you're a low energy type like me. Say no to the people that don't light you up. Say no to the organizations that don't light you up. I was invited to, actually, I get invited quite a lot to do color demonstrations. Everyone loves color analysis. They love when somebody comes and does, a color demo. But this is exhausting for me. I absolutely find it exhausting. And mostly, if I do a color analysis anymore, I do very few, but if I do them online. I teach my clients how to get their color analysis services online. And that works for me. But I know that about myself now. I know that if I go out and do a color analysis demo, even though, it can be very lucrative, it's just exhausting, and it will impact every area of my life. So now I have enough self-trust to say no. Another example of that is, charities coming to you and asking you for, will you donate, a voucher for style or color or whatever. And you say yes because you're a good person. But the reality is all of that takes time and energy. And is it really working for you in the longer term? So really have a look at what you're saying yes to, invites that you're saying yes to that you just have to say no to. Invites to come and do different roles in organizations. I have stopped all that because I just do not have the capacity to do it. Okay. Really, really, before you say yes to something, know that every yes is going to drain your capacity to do something else. Number 6, not outsourcing your happiness. Don't outsource your happiness to somebody else, your mood, or how you feel on a daily basis. This can be particularly prevalent when we're an online business, and we're up and down depending on how our engagement is, how feedback is, if people comment, if they don't comment. Be super, super aware of what you're doing, and don't outsource your happiness or your contentment or your regulation to what's going on online. This, don't hinge your self-worth on that, or hinge it on sign-ups, because if you do, I guarantee you're not going to be feeling good. You really have to separate your worth from how things are going in your business versus you yourself. Because you don't have control over that out there. You only have control over your own feelings. And I think I've seen over the years a lot of stylists just give up because of this, and it's really, really tough to watch. Number 7, a coach said this to me once, and I want to cover your ears if you don't like bad language right now, or if you have children, move them to another room. She said to me, you need to love the shit out of yourself. And she's absolutely right. Don't abandon yourself. Don't abandon yourself just because somebody else told you that it's the right way to do something. A typical example of this is like you decide, for instance, that you're not going to drink anymore, and then you go out with your friends and they say, go on, go on, go on, take a drink. And you go along with the crowd and you take a drink just because they suggested that you do it. Or somebody decides that, Substack is the new platform that everyone's on. You absolutely have to be on there. Nobody's going to know what you're doing if you're not on there. It's amazing. You should definitely be on there. And you hear a couple of people talking about that, and then you decide, well, I'm going to go on Subtrack as well, just because they said it. And they're doing really well based on what I'm seeing. So I'm going to do that, not realizing that you can't even keep up with the strategy that you already have in place. So going on Substack is not going to be a positive thing for you because you don't even have the capacity to do what you're already doing. So don't abandon yourself. Don't shame yourself for doing things differently or doing things your own way, or don't override yourself. You are the only one that can protect your energy in your business, and that's really critical. I'm a big fan of protecting energy, backing yourself, doing things that work for you. So, those were the kind of 7 points I wanted to make about self-trust, because I think that, so many people are outsourcing these kind of decisions to other people or relying on coaches to know what the right thing for you to do is. Only you truly know what the right thing for you is. And you need to come back to that. I'm not saying that investing in coaches isn't amazing. All us coaches, we're in masterminds and we're being coached ourselves. Don't get me wrong, I am a big fan of coaching. But at the end of the day, I know after 20 years in business that I need to take whatever they're telling me and I need to come back to myself. And I need to make a decision and I need to stand by that decision. That is self-trust. So, out of the 7 things that I mentioned there, which of the 7 do you think hit you the hardest? Where are you not trusting yourself? Is it around investing in yourself? Is it around doing things differently? Is it around, polling what your audience thinks you should be doing? Is it swapping out what doesn't work for you? Is it saying no to draining decisions? Are you outsourcing your happiness? Or do you just not love yourself enough? Now, it is a lifetime's work to love yourself. It really, really is. And to me, it all starts with self-trust. You have to go back to self-trust and invest in yourself so that you can start to trust yourself. Now, if you want to go deeper in this work with me, I encourage you to have a look at my upcoming course, which is happening in March. It's called the Visibility Lab course. And built into that 6-week program, I have a lot of activities around helping you develop the skill of self-trust as you become more visible. Because it is very, very difficult to be visible as the face of your business if you don't trust yourself. If you trust everyone else, but you're not trusting yourself. So if you'd like to have a look at that course, I have pinned the comment here underneath this video. Or if you're listening to this on my podcast, I will put it on the show description. Or if you are watching it on YouTube, it's going to be in the description. So that is my little live for today. I strongly encourage you to think about self-trust. Where are you not trusting yourself? And how is this holding you back? Start becoming aware of where you're not trusting yourself. Where are you outsourcing your decisions to other people, waiting for them to give you permission or to give you answers? Instead of going back, quieting your mind, regulating yourself, and truly knowing what works for you. And this is like a muscle. Self-trust is like a muscle. It'll get stronger and stronger and stronger as you exercise it. Have a brilliant week ahead, and I will chat to you all very, very soon in the next episode of The Six Figure Stylist. Take care.